Namaskar and welcome to Parliament News. My name is Mark Lynn. Let's begin with news from the Lok Sabha. Several opposition leaders in the Lok Sabha, they praised the work of the Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari, on Monday, but also flagged some concerns on issues such as the quality of roads, their maintenance, and the alleged lack of transparency in toll collection. Participating in this discussion on the demand for grants for the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways for 22-23 in the Lok Sabha, most MPs, both from the opposition and the Treasury, began their address by hailing the work done by Gadkari in the road transport sector and lauded his hands-on approach. BJP MP from Arunachal Pradesh, Tapir Gao, hailed the road construction under the Modi government and said top automobile companies, including Ferrari, Porsche, Mercedes and Lamborghini, now participate in car rallies because of good roads in the state. The road network has even reached Kalapani in Uttarakhand, he said. A number of opposition MPs also flagged issues of concern and called for speeding up of existing projects. The CPIM MP from Kerala, A.M. Arif, thanked Gadkari for the development of national highways in Kerala in a time-bound manner, underlining that road transport has an important role in employment generation. Arif alleged that this government is adopting an approach of excessively relying on the private sector for development of roads. He said that private companies are looting people for years and years, and there is no transparency in the amount collected as toll. And he also said that an agreement made by the National Highways Authority of India with the private players, after the construction cost is recovered, the toll rates are to be reduced to 40%. But what is happening? That rates are hiked every now and then on the whim and fancies of the private players, and NHAI and central government are remaining mute spectators, Arif said. He dared the government to come up with a white paper on the toll collected so far as part of various projects in the country to bring the facts before the people and ask the centre to stop collecting toll for small projects so that people are not overburdened. The BSP MP Danish Ali praised the ministry, saying that it had done a lot of good work in recent years. Personally, I would like to compliment ministers of this ministry for the good work they have done all these years, he said. Ali, however, expressed concern over the issue of rupees 3,38,000 crore debt of NHAI and wondered how that will be overcome. National highways have been built, but the condition of the state highways is very bad and the allocation of state PWDs is minimal, he argued. The fund allocation has gone up 3 times, but the speed of highway construction does not match that, Ali said. NHAI is a big and good organization, but the problem is that most officials are on deputation, he said, noting that the post of the chairman is vacant. Recruitment to NHAI should be direct, as that would make the loyalty of those officials more to the organization, he said. The BSP leader also flagged that the issue of maintenance of roads was a matter of concern. Government's target was to construct roads for 12,000 kilometers this year, but till March 10, only 8,278 kilometers had been constructed. It is getting the funds, but there is some problem, he added. Congress Lok Sabha member M.K. Vishnu Prasad said that the previous UPA governments laid the foundation for developing road connectivity in the country, which has led to its road network becoming the second largest globally. Participating in the discussion, Prasad sought to know from the government the reason for escalation in the allocation of about 2 lakh crore rupees. The Treasury benches are very proud of the 63.5 lakh kilometers of road coverage, which is the second longest globally, but after the US. But this expansion did not happen overnight, he said. It was the previous Congress governments under Nehru, Rajiv Gandhi, which laid the foundation, and that is why today India has the second largest road network, he said. Questioning the 68% hike in allocation to the Road Transport and Highways Ministry for the next fiscal, Prasad said the quality of roads is pathetic and only 356 crore rupees has been allocated towards road safety. Congress MP from Himachal Pradesh, Pratibha Singh, flagged the issue of the need for efficient road network in the hill state to boost its economic development. She said the pace of 4-laning of highways in her state was slow, which was hampering tourism, that is the backbone of the state. The National Conference MP Hasnain Masoodi praised Gadkari for his work, but flagged concern over the quality of roads being constructed. The BJP member Ram Kripal Yadav said that PM Gati Shakti program will play a critical role in raising India's GDP to $5 trillion besides generating jobs. RLP member Hanuman Beniwal demanded that all village roads should be connected, and he also demanded that all road tolls should be abolished and that the country should be made toll-free. RSP's N. Premachandran objected to the absence of Gadkari during the discussion on demands for grants of his ministry. Observing that Gadkari is doing a good job, Premachandran said parliamentary ethics demand that the minister who is seeking approval from the Lok Sabha for spending of 1.9 lakh crore rupees during 22-23 should be present in the House. BJP's Guman Singh Domar praised the Prime Minister and Gadkari for the increasing road networks in the country. Attention has been paid to road safety, he added. Earlier, Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said the government will discuss with the political party leaders the issue of whether the privilege of MPs recommending the admission of 10 students to central schools in an academic year should end. The move came after the matter was discussed in the Lok Sabha on Monday, and the Speaker Om Birla directed the Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to hold a meeting with the leaders of the political parties in the House. Let the minister hold a meeting with the leaders of political parties in the House to decide whether the MP's quota in central schools should be ended, the Speaker said. Why should there be this discriminatory quota, and a decision will be taken after discussions with the leaders of the parties, Birla said. The issue was first raised by the Congress MP Manish Tiwari, who said that 10 seats quota for MPs is inadequate as they receive a lot of requests for recommendations for central school seats. Tiwari said that the quota should either end or be enhanced. If the House is unanimous in ending the MP's quota, the government can work on that direction, Pradhan said. Parliamentarians are people's representatives and not representatives of a few, the minister said. And he said that the quota was increased from the initial 2 to 5 and now to 10 seats per academic year. However, a number of MPs opposed the move, saying MPs often receive lots of requests for the recommendation of central school seats, and 10-seat quota is inadequate and should be enhanced. It would be very difficult to do away with it, Trinamool Congress member Mahua Moitra said. Pradhan said that central schools and Navodaya Vidyalayas were set up to cater to the needs of wards of all India services officers who are transferred to different parts of the country at regular intervals and in areas where central institutions are located. But there are issues of local help, as state governments have to come forward to offer land and to set up the central schools, he said. The minister also said that the central government approves the establishment of central schools in batches every 2 to 3 years, and it was wrong to say that it has not opened schools for a long time. He said at least one central school is located in almost all districts in the country. The Congress leader in the Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, on Monday urged the government to bring in a provision for withholding of funds if a District Development Coordination and Monitoring Committee DISHA does not regularly hold its meetings in states. Several members cutting across the party lines supported Chaudhary's suggestion, with thumping of desks as he raised the issue in the lower house during question hour, complaining that meeting of DISHA committee in his district in West Bengal has not been held for the past several years. He said the Lok Sabha members can seek all information from DISHA committee and ask questions relating to the implementation of various schemes and programs in their respective district. Despite pleading for it in this house again and again, no meeting of DISHA committee has been called in my district for the last 12 to 13 years, even as he is its chairman, Chaudhary said. And he also suggested that a discussion on the issue be held in the House and a decision be taken to compel the authorities to call DISHA meetings regularly. Now news from the Rajya Sabha. The proceedings of the House began after a 4-day break, with the Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu calling for laying of papers. After the laying of papers, the Chairman said that Sardar Balwinder Singh Bunder has sought a leave of absence of the House from the 14th of March to April 8. Leave of absence was granted. During the zero, Ashok Vajpayee of the BJP raised the issue of closure of Scooter India Limited in Lucknow and urged the government to make arrangements for manufacture of electronic scooters in Scooter India. Ayodhya Rami Reddy of the YSR Congress raised the issue of the lack of cold storage warehouses in Andhra Pradesh. He said that cold storage warehouses help in chili exports, and he appealed to the parliament to increase financial assistance and infrastructure. Relationship Raman Singh of the Samajwadi Party raised the issue of rampant exploitation and commercialization of Himalayas. In this context, he referred to a Niti Aayog report which said that nearly 60% of water in Himalayas was dried. And he, in his zero-hour mention, Ramnath Thakur of the JDU said that arrangements are being made for landing of big aircraft in Samastipur in Bihar. Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Shiv Sena demanded that the government come out with clear guidelines on booster doses for the population under 60 years of age. She said that many foreign countries demand booster dose certification administered within a specific time frame before allowing entry. And this is the need for clear guidelines for verification and vaccination of the booster dose to people below 60 years of age, since India has decided to open international travel from the 27th of March, she said. Vikas Mahatme of the BJP said that there should be clear guidelines for tackling heat wave in various parts of the country. Kailash Soni of the BJP said that on this day in 1977, the then Prime Minister Morarji Desai had ended the emergency that was imposed in 1975. This day should be declared as a day of national importance, is what he said. Subhash Chandra Das Pillai of the YSRCP said that there is a need to streamline the disaster relief mechanism. KJ Alphonse of the BJP raised the concern on a shortage of medical seats in the country, which is leading to many medical students seeking admission in China, in Ukraine and elsewhere. He said that 100 new medical colleges are to be set up in the country. Kanak Madale Ravindra Kumar of the TDP raised the concern of large pendency of cases in the High Courts as well as in the Supreme Court, and he said that the retirement age of Supreme Court judges should be raised from 65 to 68 years of age, and that of High Court judges from 62 to 65. Fawzia Khan of the NCP said that early child education should be made an important part of the right to education, while V. Sivadasan of the CPIM said that the government should increase vacancies in public sector undertakings to address the problem of growing unemployment. The government should change the labour industrial policies, he said. The chairman adjourned the House for a brief while till 12 noon, and this is as the zero-hour mentions and the special mentions listed in the business were exhausted. When the House reassumed it happened at 1200 hours, the Deputy Chairman Harivansh took up the question hour. And during the question hour, the Coal Minister Prahlad Joshi replied to questions, and he said that at present the increase in coal royalty is not under the consideration of government. In response to a question, Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia said the Indian carriers are beginning to stand on their own feet, and he said that all Indian carriers entered a period of insolvency because of the pandemic. He, however, added that because of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Indian carriers are able to stand despite the pandemic. And he said that in a period of 2 years, the Indian cargo sector, the traffic, has grown to 19% despite the pandemic. Revenue from cargo has grown in the last year, and this has enabled Indian cargo carriers to stand on their own feet, he said. Responding to another question, the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said that there have been 90 to 100 army recruitment rallies per year and no region is left out. On a question pertaining to the impact of Russia-Ukraine war on India's crude oil imports from Russia, the Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Hardeep Singh Puri, said that in the last 3 financial years, we have imported less than 1% of crude oil from Russia. Our oil companies have invested in Russia and it's been very profitable. $337 million investments have resulted in 3.7 billion revenue, and another 20 years remain, he said. On the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war, he said that the facts on the ground vary. Some oil companies have expressed their intent to withdraw, and some have said they will not invest afresh, the minister said. After the question hour, Deputy Chairman Harivansh adjourned the House till 1400 hours. And when the House reassembled at 1400 hours, the Deputy Chairman Harivansh called for taking up of the discussion on the motion for consideration and return of the Appropriation Number 2 Bill 2022 and the Appropriation Number 3 Bill 2022. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman moved the bill to authorize payment and appropriation of certain further sums from the Consolidated Fund of India for the services of the financial year 21-22 as passed by the Lok Sabha and be taken into consideration. Initiating this discussion on the bill, Shakti Singh Gohil of the Congress questioned the government's claim of acting for alleviating the condition of the poor. Gohil said that the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, was born in a rich household, but he chose to lead a simple life and his heart beat for the poor. In an indirect reference to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's VVIP aircraft, the Congress member said that in contrast to Mahatma Gandhi, there is a person who talked about having been born in a poor family but who travels in a special aircraft. A person who demands a special aircraft is not a poor person, Gohil said amid criticism from the members of the Treasury. Mr. Gohil, however, said that he has not named any particular person. And participating in the discussion, Shiv Pratap Shukla of the BJP reacted to the opposition criticizing the government for not bringing petrol and diesel in the ambitious GST. And he said that during a meeting of the GST Council, when late Arun Jaitley was the finance minister, the Congress-ruled states opposed the decision to bring petroleum products under GST. This is the reason why petrol and diesel still remain outside the ambit of GST, he said. John Brittas of the CPIM charged the government of indulging in crony capitalism. The government is benevolent towards corporates. They have foregone crores of taxes for corporates, and this is the reason why the common man has become poorer and the corporates have become richer, he said. He expressed concern on the happiness index in India having gone down. He said that the government needed to give consideration to demands of state governments. Manoj Kumar Jha of the RJD said that the government has failed on many fronts. He wondered why the Prime Minister accepts popularity index but is quiet on happiness index and press freedom index and so on. And he expressed concern on disinvestment of PSUs. Fawzia Khan of the NCP said that the government should publicize schemes meant for the benefit of the poor. She expressed concern on the decrease in allocation for defence. Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Shiv Sena blamed the government for declining economic health in the country, quoting several news headlines. And she also criticized the government for poor allocation for development of women and children. Her comments raised an uproar in the Treasury, with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman questioning the use of the word misappropriation by her during her speech. This led to verbal exchanges between the Treasury and the opposition. Acting Chairman Surendra Singh Nagar said that the matter will be examined and if any unparliamentary word has been used, it would be expunged. Mahesh Podar of the BJP termed the opposition criticism of the government's policies as misplaced, and he said that the fact that people have returned the BJP to power in the biggest state of the country is evidence that people have faith in this government. Responding to the discussion, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman explained why supplementary grants for 18-19 is coming up now, and she said that the PAC had looked into it and said that we need to go to the House for regularizing expenditure on excess of the approved amount in the budget. The PAC report was submitted in Parliament in December 2021, and time given to us to regularize it was given. And abiding by the PAC directions, we have come up with the supplementary demands. She also said that these are expenses which are very essential. The minister said that the entire hike in the subsidies has been borne by the government. And she also said that supplementary demands were made for funding schemes meant to benefit the common man. On payment of GST compensation to state, she said that the centre is committed to the payment of GST compensation on time. On opposition's criticizing the decrease in the interest rate in EPFO to 8.1%, she said that it was still higher than the interest rate on other saving schemes like PPF and Sukanya scheme. On opposition criticism of reduction in defence expenditure, she said, I wish that he had said this during the 10 years of the UPA when the expenditure on defence was completely ignored. During that period, nothing was purchased, the finance minister said. She said that in none of the heads has defense expenditure been reduced. She said that apprehensions about adverse effect on expenditure on various outlays is unfounded. After the reply by the minister, the finance minister, the appropriation number 2 bill and the appropriation number 3 bills, they were returned to the Lok Sabha by voice vote. Thereafter, the House was adjourned till tomorrow. And that's all we have from Parliament. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.